Hello and welcome to Tomi Talks TV, the place to be to build great love relationships. I'd like to start by saying a very big thank you. Thank you for all your likes and your shares and your comments on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. I really appreciate you because you're helping us spread the message further faster. So thank you very much indeed. Now today I'm going to be answering one of your questions and it goes like this. I am the breadwinner in our family now, taking care of our family and our 2 kids. My husband does not appreciate my efforts and he complains about me all the time. What can I do? Now, this is a very difficult situation to find yourself in, and I really sympathize with, the way you must be feeling at the moment. But I think we need to be able to differentiate between 2 things. Differentiate between someone who is going through a season of financial difficulty and someone who actually has a habit of a lack of productivity, because there are 2 different scenarios. Now, you've not exactly given the context of why your husband at this particular moment in time cannot provide for the family, but if it turns out that, at this particular season of his life, it just so happens that he's going through financial difficulties, I know it can be stressful because it does 2 things in a family when a husband cannot provide. First of all, it places a huge amount of pressure on the woman to be able to, rise up and provide and do everything that needs to be done around the house. And on the other hand, it places a huge amount of emotional and mental stress on the man as well, if he feels as if he's not fulfilling his obligations as a husband and as a father. So that's a very difficult place to be in. But the reality of the matter is this: it does happen in marriages. And that's why I've said that it's a season of financial difficulty. I'd like to read a scripture for you from the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verses 9 and 10. It says, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Now, this scripture is very applicable to marriage and this sort of situation. It makes it clear that sometimes things happen. You're a couple, and everything seems to be fine. And then at one point, one person seems to fall down. Now, when that happens, it should be your privilege to be able to hold up the person who is falling down and, and help them back on their feet again. What am I saying? What I'm saying is this: if as a wife you find that, well, everything seemed to be fine for your husband before, but during this season he's going through financial difficulty, then you should look at it as a privilege to be able to rise up despite all the pressures and trust God for the grace to do everything that you can to take care of the family while he finds his feet again. It's not easy, but it's possible. And the reality is this: if you do that for your husband, without making him feel bad about his inadequacies at this particular season and all that, he will greatly appreciate it. So that's one way to look at it. And on the other hand, for a husband who finds himself in that sort of situation, and if the wife is stepping in to do the things that he would normally do, he would need to be appreciative of his wife, and also not be too sensitive, because sometimes it can be difficult for men on their ego and all that, if the wife has to do all of that and all. But if you appreciate her and value all that she's doing and all, God will bless you for that, and at some season things will be back to a proper balance. Now, coming to the other side, there are people who actually have a habit of unproductivity. So they're not very focused on doing what they should be doing, and that often manifests itself with people who have lots of big dreams but there's no action attached to it. Now, that is a dangerous place to be. As a man, there's a scripture that I'd like to read for us there in Proverbs chapter 12 verse 9, which says, better is he who is lightly esteemed but works for his own support than he who assumes honor for himself and lacks bread. You see, sometimes you have to do the things that you don't like to do to create the things that you love. So sometimes as a man, you might have to actually do things that you feel maybe it's not in the area that I'm interested in, or maybe it's not up to the level of my academic qualifications or whatever. Sometimes you've just got to do what you've got to do to take care of your family. But to take yourself through that season, it is necessary. So there are 2 different things here. Now, if you find yourself in a situation where it's like, maybe your husband is, just naturally doesn't want to do things that he could possibly do in this particular season to help the family, then he will actually need some counseling. So you could find, maybe someone he respects, maybe a pastor or someone else who could possibly speak to him in this situation. He needs somebody who can encourage him and motivate him in this season and hold him accountable so that he can actually do the things that he ought to be doing. Ultimately, at the end of the day, God will bless you for rising up in your family and doing everything that you can do at this particular season, even though it's difficult, to keep the family going. But as much as possible, find personal marriage counseling, someone that can actually talk to your husband and talk to both of you in this situation to help you through until you get to the other side. Well, I hope this has helped you. If this has helped you, then please leave me a message on Facebook or Twitter. And if you've got a question you would like me to answer, then head on over to tommytalks.com/ask and I'll answer your question next time. See you next time. Bye-bye.